You have more power than you think. Let me ask you a question. How much leverage do you actually have at work? Most people answer that question based on feelings. Some assume they have none. Others assume they have a lot. But very few professionals ever stop and assess their value objectively. And that's a problem. Because the way you negotiate, communicate, advocate for yourself, and set boundaries is heavily influenced by how much leverage you believe you have. If you underestimate your value, you'll often stay silent when you should speak up. You'll accept situations you should challenge. You'll tolerate workloads you should push back on. But if you understand your true value, everything changes. Today we're going to conduct a leverage audit and help you determine exactly how much influence you may already have in your workplace. Section 1. What is workplace leverage? When people hear the word leverage, they often think of power. But workplace leverage isn't about authority. It's about value. Specifically, it's about the value you create compared to how difficult it would be to replace that value. The more important your contribution and the harder it is to replace, the greater your leverage. The less impact you create and the easier you are to replace, the less leverage you have. Understanding that distinction is important because leverage isn't based on confidence. It's based on reality. Section 2. Why most employees misjudge their value. One of the biggest mistakes professionals make is confusing effort with leverage. Working hard doesn't automatically create influence. Organizations reward impact, not just activity. You can work longer hours than anyone else on the team and still have less leverage than someone who consistently solves critical business problems. That's because businesses ultimately care about outcomes: revenue, efficiency, customer retention, risk reduction, growth. The closer your work is to those outcomes, the stronger your position becomes. Section 3. The 7 leverage factors. Let's break down the 7 areas that determine workplace leverage. The first is unique value. Do you possess skills, knowledge, or expertise that are difficult to find? The second is business impact. Does your work directly affect important business outcomes? The third is team dependency. How much does the organization rely on your contributions? The fourth is scarcity. How difficult would it be to replace someone with your capabilities? The fifth is knowledge advantage. Do you possess information, systems knowledge, or relationships that create an edge? The sixth is future potential. Can leadership see you taking on larger responsibilities? And the seventh is reliability. Do people trust you to consistently deliver results? These 7 areas form the foundation of your leverage. Section 4. The question that reveals everything. Here's one of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself. What would happen if I left tomorrow? Think about it carefully. Would projects slow down? Would clients be affected? Would critical knowledge disappear? Would the company need months to replace your expertise? The answer often reveals your leverage more accurately than your job title ever could. Section 5. Why confidence comes from evidence. A lot of career advice focuses on confidence. Believe in yourself. Think positively. Back yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But the strongest confidence comes from evidence. When you know the problems you've solved, the value you've created, the results you've delivered, the trust you've earned, confidence becomes easier because it's grounded in facts rather than feelings. Section 6. The connection between leverage and boundaries. Have you ever noticed that some professionals seem comfortable saying no? They push back professionally. They negotiate expectations. They challenge unrealistic deadlines. Why? Often because they understand their leverage. They're not being difficult. They're operating from clarity. When you know your value, it's easier to advocate for yourself. When you underestimate your value, it's easier to accept situations that don't serve you. That's why leverage and boundaries are closely connected. Section 7. Signs you're underestimating your value. Many professionals have more leverage than they realize. You might be underestimating your value if people frequently ask for your help. You solve problems others struggle with. You're trusted with important responsibilities. You train new employees. You maintain key client relationships. You possess specialized knowledge. You consistently deliver results. These are all indicators of value, and value creates leverage. Section 8. How to increase your leverage. The good news is leverage isn't fixed. You can build it. One way is by developing scarce skills. The harder a skill is to find, the more valuable it becomes. Another way is by increasing your business impact. Focus on projects that contribute directly to important organizational goals. You can also strengthen your leverage by becoming a problem solver. Most people identify problems. Few people solve them. And finally, improve your visibility. If nobody understands the value you create, your leverage remains hidden. Section 9. The danger of getting this wrong. It's important to be realistic. Some professionals underestimate their leverage. Others overestimate it. Neither approach is helpful. The goal isn't ego. The goal is accuracy. A realistic understanding of your value helps you make better decisions about promotions, negotiations, boundaries, and career growth. Final thoughts. One of the most important career skills you can develop is understanding your value. Not your title, not your workload, not how busy you are, your value. Because leverage comes from value. The problems you solve, the trust you build, the expertise you possess, and the impact you create. The more clearly you understand those things, the more confidently you can advocate for yourself. If you found this video valuable, make sure to read the full article linked in the description below. You'll also find the workplace boundaries and self-advocacy blueprint in the description if you're ready to strengthen your workplace confidence, improve your boundaries, and better understand the value you bring to the table. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.